I don't train for others. I don't move for applause. I don't seek approval. I seek mastery. Most people want comfort. I do not. Growth is not found in ease. Strength is built in struggle. People think that knowledge is power, but knowledge is not enough if a cup is already full. You cannot put more into it. The same goes for the mind. When your mind is full of too many opinions and too much skepticism, there is no place for expansion. When I started training, I needed to forget many things. I needed to let go of old thoughts that prevented me from progressing. I needed to get rid of unnecessary thoughts that held me back. People cling to what they know because it's familiar. But sometimes what you know is exactly what's keeping you back. If I had only done one style, if I had only believed in one thing, I would never have expanded. Expansion never begins by adding more. It begins by removing what's extra. The world instructs you to collect, to bring together, to commit to memory. But true mastery is when you strip everything back to what truly matters. Doubt, hesitation, and fear take up space in your head. Let them go. Do not hold on to ideas that do not serve you. Do not be afraid of questioning what you have learned. An open and empty mind can absorb new information like a sponge. A doubting mind and too much thinking slows down and becomes bogged down. If you must pick up speed, think more and become stronger. Start by letting go. Stronger. Start by letting go. Let go clear. Will you truly see the way ahead? Most people practice recognition. They want others to see that they have improved in order to applaud their efforts, to recognize their commitment. But when you train for others' approval, your development is constrained by their focus. What do you do when no one sees? What do you do when the applause fades? I never trained for others. I never required an audience to authenticate my journey. My training was solitary, unseen, unrelenting. The world never needs to know what goes on about all the work that you do. Mastery isn't constructed out there for the masses. It's constructed in the quiet moments where everyone's not watching. People too many rely on external motivation. They motivate themselves only if someone else can watch them. They do everything. At best, when they do everything that's their best. To watch this kind of training doesn't work because it on something outside of you. True mastery is built in hardiness, in the no praise, no approval, no validation, just you and your discipline. I trained at dawn. I trained when my body hurt. I trained when my mind was fatigued. No one needed to know about it because I wasn't doing it for them. I was doing it for them. I was doing it for myself. Progress is not measured by the applause of the crowd. It is measured by the effort you exert when nobody is watching. Discipline is the difference between individuals who succeed and those who are merely average, the ones who train only when they feel like doing so, when they feel like it. There is someone to impress them, will not make it. The ones who train in silence when it is hard, when no one cheers, they are the ones who become unstoppable. A true warrior does not need praise to keep going. A true warrior does not need to be seen to keep getting better. Do not train for the world. Train for yourself. Train because you must train, because it is who you are. If you can stay dedicated, when no one is looking, when there is no recognition, when there is no reward other than the growth within yourself, then you are truly on the path to mastery. Most people believe training only happens when the body is in motion, when they are lifting weights, throwing punches, or practicing techniques. They believe progress is only in sweat and exhaustion. But the truth is, training is not physical, but psychological. It is always, it never stops when the body ceases to move. I trained even when I was resting, I trained. When I walked, when I sat, when I ate, when I rested, my training was not limited to the gym, the dojo, or the fight, but everywhere in anything that I did, because real mastery is not something which you turn off and on, becomes a part of you. Every second was a moment in time to sharpen my mind, to build my focus, to narrow my techniques inside my mind before applying them out in the real world. I imagined my movements, dreamed of my attacks, dropping perfectly, imagined myself being able to respond quicker, move more naturally, become more intense. The mind cannot tell difference between motion, which is really moving, and thought motion. When you train in your head, you're conditioning your head, you're conditioning your body before you even begin. Moving when others were daydreaming, wasting time lost in thought. I was training when I was out, walking down the street. I was rehearsing movement, my own and people's around me. When I was sitting still, I was going over techniques in my mind. I saw openings. I read body language. I knew attacks were coming before they ever happened. I never had to physically spar every waking moment of the day because I already sparred in my mind. That is the secret to being faster, sharper, better readied than people who spar with just their bodies. The body has its limitations, but the mind does not. You can train for all time without ever even moving. You can sharpen your skills in a seated position. Still, you can strengthen your concentration, your reaction, and your awareness by turning every moment into a time for growth. Most people are waiting for the right moment, the right situation, the right conditions to train. I did not wait. I trained when there was no gym available. I trained when I was exhausted. I trained in silence, in stillness, in my head. That is why when the real fight came, I was always ready. If you want to get strong, don't wait for training session. Turn every minute into training session. Watch, learn, develop your focus, treat everything as opportunity to develop. When you have mastered this, you will always be improving, even if you are still from the beginning. I refuse to be trapped in a system. Most practitioners cling to a system and tradition, a group of set techniques, anticipating that it will make them strong. But ultimately, systems create walls. They become cages that suffocate movement, thought, and progress. I stuck to no system. I stuck to what? I didn't blindly accept what I learned. I questioned it. If it worked, I kept it if it worked. I kept it if it was useless. I dropped it, no matter how many generations had done it before me. Truth is not based on loyalty to a system. Truth is based on effectiveness. Martial arts was never meant to be rigid. It was made to be dynamic, flowing, flexible. Many warriors repeat the same techniques over and over again, assured that one style is superior. But what do they do when they come up against an opponent who moves differently? What do they do when their system has no response? They hesitate, they struggle, they lose because they are following rules and not responding to the moment. I learned boxing, fencing, wing chun, grappling, street, fighting. I used what was effective in each and put them together into my own style. I wasn't beholden to tradition. I wasn't beholden to any one master. I was beholden only to improvement. A punch is a punch. A kick is a kick, no matter where it came from. The only problem is whether or not it can accomplish the task when you require it. Many people do this with life. As too many people tread along, stead rules are hesitant to question them. They cling to what they have been taught, even when it does not serve them. They limit themselves in fear of change. But I never feared change. Thrive. If you do not accept change, you will be left behind. When you free yourself from a fixed system, you get unpredictable. You become dangerous. You become limitless. A one-style fighter is one to be studied, countermanded, and beat a versatile fighter cannot be foreseen. He is liberated. He rides with the moment, answers unencumbered, and rules effortless. This has nothing to do with fighting, Wheeze. This has nothing to do with fighting. This is about life. If you are set in your head, if you are not open to change, if you hold on to ways of doing things that no longer serve you, you will remain static. But if you open yourself up, try everything, and adopt only what is useful, you will always make gains. Do not adhere to a system because it exists. Do not tend to obey rules because they have existed forever. Question yourself, does it work? If it does, hold on to it. If it doesn't, discard it. Your growth is your responsibility. Your evolution is your choice. Many people wish to be thought of as great. They must be called masters, experts, legends. But the moment you think that you know everything, you stop growing. The moment you let your ego take over you, begin falling. I never let my ego blind me. I never told you that I knew it all. Rather, I was always a learner, learning, always evolving. A true master is not one who believes that they have reached the pinnacle, but one who realizes that mastery has no end. Ego is the enemy of progress. It makes people obstinate. It makes them cling to what they know instead of seeking better. They won't learn from other styles because they believe their style is superior. But what do they do when they meet someone who moves differently, someone who fights outside their system? They struggle, they hesitate. They lose not because they are weak, but because they wouldn't learn. I didn't let pride get the best of me. I learned boxing, fencing, wrestling, philosophy, anything that could make me sharper, my mind and body. I learned from them all regardless of their history. I chose what was useful, discarded what was unnecessary, and modified it to fit myself. I never lacked being a student. The best fighters never do. Some individuals avoid learning from other people, because they believe it makes them weak. But what is truly weak? Holding on to the past out of fear, not changing, because pride, true power, lies in the ones who are ready to learn, who are ready to admit that they do not know everything. This does not only apply to fighting, it applies to life. Many people refuse to listen, refuse to grow, refuse to adapt. They let ego dominate them, and because of it, they don't change. But if you want to improve, stronger, smarter, faster, you must release ego. You must be willing to be a student. No matter how competent you become, a full cup can't hold any more. Water, a closed mind, can't learn anything new. If you truly want to reach your highest potential, empty yourself of pride. Remain open, remain learning, remain growing, because the moment you feel like have reached, you have already begun to fall. Strength is not just in the muscles. Strength is not just in the fists. Strength is born of the core, not just the physical core, but the mental core. A warrior is not built of power alone. A warrior is built of the union between mind and body, from the ability to move as one, to think and act without discrimination. Most people work out their body, but not their mind. They lift weights, they run, they push themselves physically, but when pressured, they fall apart. Why? Because their mind never learned to handle. They are only strong when everything goes their way, only when they feel good. But the moment trouble reaches, their foundation crumbles. I never separated my mind from my body. Each blow I threw was sustained by full consciousness, full mastery, full intention. When I conditioned my core, I was not only conditioning my body, I was making my will unconquerable. A weak body can hold up if the mind is strong, but a weak Mind will cause even the strongest body to crumble. The core is the center. Movement, the source of power, the cornerstone of stability. With a firm core balance, his strong hits have force, stamina endures. But this holds true for the mind as much as for the body. With a firm mental core, discipline endures, confidence remains. The body may be ready, but if the mind is hesitant, there is no action. When I trained, I made my core strong physically. Physically, I develop head, my center, my lower back, my hips, because power is gained from the center and not just the limbs. All motion begins in the core, and a weak core means weak motion. But then, some more, I exercised my mental core. I trained my mind to be strong, to be focused, to be unshakable. No distractions, no hesitation, no weakness. My mind was clear. My emotions were under control. My response is key. I never allowed doubt to shake me. I never allowed pressure to break me. My body and mind worked in harmony, flowing together, firm and flowing together, firm and powerful. Most individuals distinguish the two. They do not differentiate between mind and body. They construct one but neglect the other. That is why they fail. That is why they suffer under pressure. A true warrior does not differentiate between mind and body. They are united. Every movement is a reflection of intent. There is no hesitation, no struggle, only act. When body and mind act together, there is no fear. There is no weakness. There is no doubt. There is only strength, only control, only mastery. If you want to be unstoppable, train. Both build up your body, but more so build up in your mind, because a weak mind will always crumble first. And once the mind crumbles, the body comes along. The warrior's core isn't merely about physical strength. It is about complete balance, complete control, complete unity. When you are in charge of this, you will never be shaken. You will never hesitate. You will never break. Have been hit. I have been knocked down. I have been injured. But I did not break. A warrior is not someone who never falls. A warrior is someone who rises every time. Most individuals are afraid of being hit, not only physically, but in life. They shy away from pain. They shy away from failure. They shy away from struggle, yet the only way to be unshakable is to endure adversity, to take the hits, and to move forward. Pain is a test. Pressure is a test. Life will strike you when you are not expecting it. If your foundation is weak, you will fall and stay down. But if your core is solid, you will take the impact and stand firm. Strength is not about never facing adversity. It is about never allowing adversity to break you. When I trained, I did not avoid the pain. I embraced it. Every punch I took made me stronger. Every time I was knocked down, I learned how to get up faster. Every challenge I faced made me stronger. The world doesn't care about how strong you are when everything is easy. It only cares about how strong you are when things become hard. I trained my core, not just to take physical punches, but to take mental and emotional ones. Life does not just attack the body, it attacks the spirit. It brings failure, disappointment, setbacks. And just like a body punch, these punches can knock you to the ground, but only when your core isn't strong core, physically, emotionally, mentally keeps one upright, even if the world is trying to push one off one's feet. Most fall after one try. They quit after one failure. They resign because it hurts too much. But I never let pain have the upper hand. I knew that pain was a teacher, that struggle was a crucible, adversity was the refining process. The fire that devours the weak is the same fire that hardens the strong to be unshakable. You must build your foundation so strong that no blow, no loss, no hurt can destroy you. You must toughen yourself to survive, to take the blow, and not shatter. You must meet resistance and not retreat. When you flinch, when you get hit, if you fall and cannot get up, then you have not trained your core properly, the mind. The spirit and the body must be harmonized. It is not enough to be physically strong if your mind is weak. A weak mind with physical strength collapses under pressure. That is why I trained beyond physical. I conditioned my mind to survive, to adapt, to stay calm, even against superior force. When I was exhausted, I never quit. When I was injured, I struggled. I learned that hardship was necessary, that pushing limits came with pain. Many people seek comfort, thinking it will make them happy, but comfort makes people weak. The ones who avoid difficulty, who run from pain, who fear strife, will never know. Real strength is not acquired in ease. It is acquired in survival. It is acquired in standing. When you are spent from pushing forward, when you are terrified from refusing to back down, when you feel you no longer have anything left, that is what separates the weak and the strong. The weak for excuses to quit, the strong look for excuses to halt. I trained under all circumstances. I trained when it was hot, when it was cold, when I was hurting, when I was tired. I did not let outside conditions control. If you need perfect conditions to get done, you are not strong. If you need motivation to keep going, you are not disciplined. The unmovable warrior waits not. He advances no matter what he feels. No matter how hard pain is, only temporary struggle is temporary. But the person you become because of it is permanent. Most people see pain as bad, something to be avoided. I saw it as a blessing. Every hardship made me sharper. Every struggle made me stronger. I did not let pain break me. I allowed it to make me better. If you want to be truly strong, cease being scared of pain. Stop avoiding the struggle instead. Face it. Accept it, allow it to shape you. Train your mind to endure, and your body will follow. Train your soul to stand firm, and no power on this planet will be able to shift you. A warrior does not break when tested. Deed. A warrior does not retreat. When there is adversity, a warrior does not give up. Because the path is tough, regardless of how many times you are knocked down. Rise regardless of how many times you are hit. Stand firm. Despite how much pain you experience, persevere, because strength is not in never getting hit. It is in getting knocked and not breaking. The world will challenge you. Life will test you. But if you train yourself to be impenetrable, to be unbreakable, to absorb every blow and stand tall, then nothing, no pain, no failure, no adversity will ever be able to hinder you. This is the way of the warrior. This is the attitude of the unbreakable. If you want to be strong, you be tested. If you want to be unshakable, you must be willing to take the hits, because at the end of it all, real strength is not measured by how much you hit, but by how much you can be hit and continue to move forward. Most people prepare for a goal they believe. There is a finish line, a point at which they can say, I have reached it. But mastery is never achieved. There is no final level, no last place. The instant you think you're there, you begin to lag behind. I never trained to achieve a last state. I trained to grow, to evolve, to continue, to hone myself beyond the boundaries. Most fighters attain a certain point, and they cease to improve any further. They relax, they think that they know enough. But the world continues to move, the challenges continue to arise. The instant you stand still, you start falling behind. A warrior's way is not so much about reaching the top, but it is about continuously moving upward. There are no plateaus, merely delusions of success that trick you into stopping. The greatest enemy of progress is the idea that you have done enough, that you are good enough, that you have reached your peak. I rejected this philosophy. I wasn't trained to reach a threshold. I was trained to erase my thresholds. When I was faster, I found ways to become even faster. When I was more powerful, I found ways to become more powerful. Every threshold I reached wasn't a point of arrival. It was a doorway to a new start. People who strive for a final objective never really become great because they do not see the infinite growth phenomenon. This isn't about fighting. This is about life. Many people become successful and become stagnant. They stop learning, stop challenging, stop growing. But the real masters, the real warriors, never stop refining themselves. They are always looking for that next level, that next skill, that next. Lesson picture climbing a mountain, you struggle, you sweat, you push yourself to reach the top. But when you get there, what do you see? Another peak higher than the one you've just climbed. The journey never stops. There is always something more, to learn more, to achieve more, to become. I did not train for a reward. I did not chase a title. I did not seek recognition. I sought evolution. I wished to move faster, strike harder, think sharper, react faster, not just for today, but for every day thereafter. I did not wish to be the best. One day, I wanted to keep growing for life. Too many people are fearful of change. They are fearful of reaching beyond their boundaries because it is not pleasant, but comfort is the progress enemy. If you are comfortable, you are not improving. If you are not fighting, you are improving. That's why I always sought the hard way, the hard train, the exercises others did not do. I knew that mastery is not a destination. It is an ongoing process. If you stop seeking improvement, you will fall. If you believe you have attained perfection, you are all already fallen. That is why I never quit. Every day was another chance to master my skills, another chance to get better than yesterday. I learned everything, every type of fighting, every method, every philosophy. I studied the books about strategy, about psychology, about movement. I did not limit myself to one way of thinking. I did not let my mind stiffen. Growth comes when you keep your mind open, when you absorb knowledge from any and all source. Those individuals who feel like they have made it as high as they're going to will one day get passed by. Somebody who keeps getting higher. That's the law of nature. The second you stop advancing, somebody else is advancing, and soon enough they will pass you. That's the reason why I stopped. I never felt complete. There was always something more to learn, always something to refine, always a way to be better. This mindset doesn't only apply when it comes to fighting. It is true for everything in life. A businessman who stops innovating will fall behind. An artist who stops learning will become obsolete. A leader who stops adapting will lose their power. Development is the only choice. The body ages, the physical body weakens with the passing of time, but the mind, the skill, the knowledge, these can continue to grow endlessly. A true warrior doesn't merely train the body, he trains mind, and a trained mind never stops learning. The greatest fight isn't one you do with an adversary, it is one that you do with yourself. It is battling the voice that tells you to rest when you need to train. It is battling the thoughts that tell you that you have done enough when you see you can more. It is battling temptation to settle when you possess the strength to continue. The only true limitation is the one you impose on yourself. Only the authentic conclusion is the one you choose to hold faith in. I resolved never to hold faith an end. I chose to keep going on, evolving, on learning, on learning, on learning, on growing. If you want to be great, don't look for a finish line. There isn't one. Look for progress, not completion. Look for refinement, not perfection. Look for evolution, not an end. When you understand this, you will never stop to improve. You will never stop to rise. You will never stop to be greater than yesterday. The moment you stop learning, you start dying. The moment you stop growing, you start vanishing. Do not look for an end. Look endless growth. That is mastery's way. I did not train for a prize. I did not seek a title. I did not seek recognition. Finish line, there isn't one. Seek progress, and not completion. Seek refinement, and not perfection. Seek evolution, and not an end. When you understand this, you will never stop improving. You will never stop rising. You will never stop rising. You will never stop becoming more than you stop learning. You start dying the moment you stop. Stop growing, you start fading. Do not seek an end, seek endless growth. That is the true path to mastery. Most people seek shortcuts. I seek the hard way. Most people wait for motivation. I build discipline. Most people fear struggle. I accept if you wish to be strong. Prepare to suffer. If you wish to grow, be willing to break. If you want to master life, be willing to master yourself. Be water. Be unstoppable. Be limitless. The journey doesn't end here. It never does now. Go train your mind. Train your body. Train your soul.